Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast. My name is Erik Vasquez, and joining me on the line is the excellence of podcast execution, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be in wrestling podcasting, the Marty to my Sean, the animal to my hawk in this podcast Legion of Doom, the stone cold to my cerebral assassin in this two-person power trip of a podcast. She is wrestling podcasting's Sith Lord. I got right.
Yeah.
Coming straight from the Berg. She is Shay Hicks. And Shay, what's going on, my friend?
I know it will always impress me how you can do that. It's insane.
I'm on my Excalibur bull crap, you know.
Yeah. Except you don't
just,
sound like you're about to pass out after you say it. So
it's all about breath control.
yes, yes, you definitely need it on a intro like that. But
how's everything? I saw that this weekend you were over at Steel City Con. How was that?
it's all right. It's just nothing new.
Nothing new. Just running into some very important people.
Yeah. Well, of course we went because Britt and Swerve were there, so we went to see them, and it was super cool. We talked to Britt for about like 10 minutes, talked to Swerve for about like 10.
Nice.
It was crazy. Both, like I said, both of
Nice.
them. It took a little while to get to them, but it was kind of funny because, like I said, we talked to Britt for like 10 minutes, and we were standing there, and like the people behind us were getting pissed, and it's just like not our problem. Like,
yeah, you and her kind of, her and her family and your family kind of go back, so
it's like you guys can wait. Like that's
yeah.
who cares? And then yeah, like Swerve was super cool too. He's just like he just has that like aura about him. We talked about it before. He's just you think that he could be an asshole, but he's really not. Like he's super cool, super down to earth. Like I said, we talked to him for a good 5-10 minutes. Got as if you saw my Twitter, got a picture with him and the title, so that was pretty cool. But
Nice, yes.
yeah, definitely worth making the trip over. So we're gonna hope there's somebody coming in for December. So we'll see. Stay tuned for that one. But yeah, it was super fun.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you had a good time. And man, you're just racking up, these meet and greets and everything from Shayna to Rhea to Swerve to Britt Baker. It's like you're racking up these connections.
I'm doing my best. Like I said, we're gonna hope for Dakota at WrestleMania 41, but or hell, maybe even somebody at, like I said, Steel City Con. They do it every 4 months, so the next one's December. So we'll see
Nice.
about that one. I know a couple of my friends from work and I are planning on trying to do some cosplaying in December, so we'll see how that one works. But because it was kind of like it was like a little quick side story. They were like, I want to go. I haven't gotten a chance to go in a while, and we all have to cosplay. That's like the rule. We all have to cosplay as something when we go. And I'm like, I've always been like interested in like cosplaying because it seems pretty cool. Like
Right.
it's a cool like art form, but I'm like, I have no idea where to like even begin because some of the stuff I would want to do is way too complicated for a beginner and someone who is not artistically inclined. So I was like racking my brain trying to figure out what I could do because of course mom said Shayna and I'm like that's easy. That's too easy in a way. And so I'm like,
yeah, leather jacket, aviator, sunglasses,
NXT belt, like yeah. So I'm just like I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, obviously Dead by Daylight's one of my favorite games. It's been forever since I played it, but it's got me through like years. And I mean years. Like my online friends and I would play it every Monday on stream for Twitch. I want to get back into it. And so I'm kind of like sitting there and I'm like, well, a couple of my favorite killers for Dead by Daylight are not very easily cosplayed, but one of them is, even though I don't play them as a killer, if anyone knows the Legion. That one's very easy to do, so I'm in the process of trying to get that going. So be on the lookout. Maybe in December I'll drop some cosplay pictures in the podcast, but or in the Discord. But that is not why we're here. Believe it or not. But
no,
I'll let you go on.
that's the thing is that I'm learning that a lot of our listeners, a lot of our supporters are in a lot of different stuff, not just wrestling. It's just a bunch of different stuff, whether it's movies, TV shows, anime, things like that. It's like becoming the community that we're growing is becoming in all sort of center for the everything nerddom and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool, and it's interesting to see you get into that realm. So I'm excited for you.
Yeah, we're gonna see how it goes. Fingers crossed, but I'm pretty excited for it. I think it's gonna, if all goes well and I can get the things I need, I think it's gonna turn out pretty cool.
Nice, nice. Well, we can't wait. Well, for those of you that are new listening to the podcast, this is a pro wrestling podcast where the bulk of our format is Shay and myself answering questions about what's going on in the world of professional wrestling sent in by our loyal listeners. We got a lot of questions to go through, but I wanted to start off presenting you with a theory that I found on
Oof.
Twitter. I have been decreasing my Twitter usage with the Discord and everything going on, but
Mhm.
I found this very interesting and I wanted to bring it up on the podcast. It's a set of tweets by a user by the name of Navtreaks. I wonder if I'm saying that correctly. I apologize if I'm not. Navtreaks. And they had some interesting theories about the Ula Fala, which is the necklace that is
Mm,
bestowed upon the tribal chief. And now there is an argument as to who is the real tribal chief, whether it's Roman Reigns or Solo Sikoa. But it's a
okay.
very interesting theory about the Ula Fala. It takes you back to Paul Heyman's reaction when they pulled it out of that bag before he denied acknowledging Solo Sikoa as the tribal chief. And this person, this Twitter user, said that the reaction was something of note because only a higher up can obtain the Ula Fala, which means The Rock took it and gave it to Solo. The Rock definitely
Ooh.
told Solo to be the tribal chief. Solo not being ready, he copied
Oh.
everything Roman did to portray himself as chief. Roman finding out The Rock being behind this situation could lead to The Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania. What do you think?
Oh my god, that would that, that is a very good theory, and that makes too much sense. That
Yeah.
is insane. Could you imagine if that's actually it?
And then they had a nice little tidbit to go along with this, which involves Tama Tonga. Last week, I believe, when when Roman returned to SmackDown and he was getting jumped by Tama Tonga and all of them, Solo was instructing Tama Tonga to give him the Ula Fala. Tama Tonga kept looking at the Ula Fala
Yeah.
when he was giving it to Solo, even looking back after he gave it. This was just like Solo did last year that started the corruption of Solo Sikoa. The Ula Fala's power can make you go crazy, and
Mhm.
Navtrix believes that seeds are being planted.
Oh, that would, I like that theory. That would be a swerve I don't think a lot of people would see coming. They would just
Mhm.
see, I think on like outside or on just like the obvious, what you could see is that Solo's just like, nope, he's not here anymore. Roman's not here,
Mhm.
so I'm just gonna take it. But
Could you, could you imagine if the power of the Ula Fala is real and it can corrupt those who think they're ready to be tribal chief and not ready?
I could see that. I mean, and I think Triple H could, if they were to go that route, which would they? Maybe. Could they? Who knows? He could do it. I think he could do it in a way that doesn't make it like silly or like over
Hmm.
the top. I feel like
Right.
just you don't have to make it supernatural. You can kind of just like make it its own like mythical kind of
Hmm.
thing.
Sure.
So yeah, I would really like to see that. Actually, now that's a really good theory, and I'd be
Yeah.
very interested to see because I feel like they could even make that into a story now. Because I feel like originally when it was WrestleMania 40, it was going to be Roman and Rock just because, oh, that's the match everybody wants to see, and there was really no other like reason other than this is the big match, this is the biggest match in WrestleMania history. But now that Roman's motivated, he's probably not going to be paying as much attention to The Rock
Right.
until The Rock gives him a reason to pay attention to him. So that would be a good reason to pay attention to him. So yeah, I need to see this happen now.
Yeah.
If we need to like timestamp this and then go back and find the Twitter user and be like, good go, good call. We like you
Yeah.
called it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be clipping this up, throwing it on YouTube, and definitely showing love to Naptreaks. Once again, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, but I just wanted to show them love because I thought it was a very, very intricate sort of layer to the storyline, and it's something totally that Triple H would kind of brew up because he
Yeah.
likes those little things. Like, I mean, for God's sakes, we have CM Punk, Drew McIntyre fighting over a bracelet. You know,
Yeah, that's the mythical power right there
yeah,
is
they're
bracelets.
fighting over a bracelet that a fan made. So, you know, of course, something like that is just very interesting. It speaks to how great of a place WWE wrestling in particular is, where the fans can drum up these theories and they can get invested in what's going on in terms of storyline, and you don't feel stupid. You kind of feel
Yeah.
like a detective or an avid book reader or something like
Mhm.
that, you know? Uh,
Yeah.
so it's really cool. I just thought that was something that our listeners would find interesting because we do so much fantasy booking and
Yeah.
trying to come up with our own storylines. That something like that kind of seems like in the realm of what you and I would do or what we would
Yeah.
come up.
Yeah. They beat us to it, and I'm a little
Yeah.
mad about it, but it's fine. But no, that it does make way too much sense, and I really, like I said, I really do hope it happens because that can make things even more interesting than they already are. So
For
I
sure, for
I want
sure.
more drama.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, I just thought that was an interesting way to kick off the show. Like I said, our usual format we're going back to this week where we're going to answer some questions about what's going on in the world of professional wrestling. We got a ton of questions to go through both for WWE stuff, AEW stuff, which we haven't been able to talk about for the past 2 weeks. So I'm excited. Why don't we get right into it?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go over to Discord first because I know we got a couple questions from Riz, our
Riz, oh my
resident
God.
Discord. So let's see. First off, coming in hot with the statement of people need to stop fucking with Rhea and Damien.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, so I'm glad you brought this up because we were talking about this a little bit before we came onto the air here. I was checking on Twitter today, and there is a little section of fans that for some reason have ended up on my Twitter feed
Hmm.
that are shockingly complaining about how this whole storyline's going right now, and it just it makes me shake my head because it just shows you how, as we always say, fickle fans are,
Mhm.
and that whole instant gratification that we keep wanting to talk about all the time. Because the biggest things I'm seeing are, number one, why are you making this new Judgment Day look stupid? Because it's literally 5 people and you have 2 people kick their ass every time. Yes,
Yeah.
because here's the thing. I guarantee you these same people go watch Raw next week. I guarantee you something. I'm not going to say this is exactly what's going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if something in this realm is going to happen. Say Damien's supposed to have a match. Maybe he's finally supposed to have the match with Finn. Everybody wants him to get his hands on Finn. Finn's been ducking him for weeks. So
Mhm.
Damien gets in the ring, ready to kill him. Finn's music hits. He's nowhere to be found. Damien's like, "Where is he? What's going on? I need to get my hands on him. Where is he?" Shows up on the screen. What happens if Judgment Day is standing over Rhea, all bloodied up and like knocked unconscious?
Right.
Because guys, this is literally almost like step for step what usually happens. Obviously, like the good guys get ahead just a little bit, but then the heels are going to wisen up after a little bit and they're going to
Mhm.
make their lives a living hell, especially since now we're getting Finn, or now we're getting Damien and Liv against Rhea and Damien at Bash of Berlin. So they're going to obviously get some sort of revenge next week, whether it be Damien or Rhea. So it's like, guys, you just got to give it a few weeks. Like I think it's because we're also just so used to the old way of doing things where it was, I guarantee you, if this would have happened like 5 years ago, Liv and Dominic would come out literally the first Raw after SummerSlam. They'd explain their actions. Rhea and Damien would come charging after them, and then they would repeat this for like 2 or 3 weeks at a time.
Mhm.
That's not what they're doing now. They're trying
Right.
to subvert your expectations because I'll be honest, I was expecting that to happen. We fully haven't gotten a good enough, I think, explanation from Dominic and Liv, because if that's the only reason he has for turning on Rhea was what we
Mhm.
saw on Raw, I'm like, okay, that's kind of a little weak, but
Right.
whatever. But it's like we didn't get it right away.
Right.
That's called making you tune in to the next week's episode to see what happens.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So that kind of goes into my next thing that I've been seeing, and it's really fucking annoying me, are the people that are saying, well, I don't know why they're just booking Rhea so strongly. They need to like make her look actually weak. First off, why?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get it. You want her to be a little human because she is. As if she isn't doing that right now. She just got her heart broken. Most of her supposed family turned their backs on her. At least she only has Damien, thank God. But it's just like, you guys want these popular, larger than life characters, and then when they get a little too popular and larger for life, it's like, well, now she's getting overbooked. Like, I've literally heard she's getting. Someone literally said this, and I'm pretty
She's
sure it was.
getting overbooked.
She's being booked more than Charlotte did. At least Charlotte lost more than she did. I'm like,
What?
are you fucking kidding me? And then I look closer and it was a Liv fan page. So I'm like, of
This
course.
is this whole. It's look. I'm not a gatekeeper or anything like that. But what it is like, you see how stan culture has taken over the entertainment
Yes.
business and culture as a
Yeah.
whole altogether. It's not necessarily about whether you enjoy something or not. Um it's let me latch onto this person and be a super mega fan
Mm-hmm.
more before anybody else, so that when they blow up I can take credit as being like their first ride or die.
Yeah.
And it's overtaken wrestling, and it is what it is. I try to avoid it all the time, but I see that like this sort of mindset, it's like it's just weird. Like it's
Yeah.
you negate everything that else that matters in wrestling, the skill, the art form, the science behind it. You negate
Yeah.
all of that as a fan, so you clearly forget how to even understand wrestling. You just see this one person, for example. Let's just say, let's take a newbie. There's a newbie, Carly Gray, on NXT. She
Mm-hmm.
just maybe had like 2 matches on NXT TV. She's pretty new. Let's just say somebody latches her and says, I'm gonna be a Carly Gray stan, and I'm
Yeah.
going to, I'm gonna rah her. Like, I will literally say that she deserves a title shot
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
and it's just this weird mindset. But that's what's happening here. It's like, it's okay to be a fan, but you're also missing out on the nuances of wrestling and what makes wrestling cool, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So
Yeah.
that's why there's a disconnect between hardcore fan, casual fan, and all that. It's like there's a lot of other cool shit that is like a wrestling science that makes this stuff even cooler.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, I think there's like also a difference too between like the stands and
Yeah.
like the hardcore fans. Like, take, I mean, I guess I'll just use this as an example. Like, I mean, me and Rhea, like, I fucking love Rhea. Everybody knows this. However, did I expect her to fully win at SummerSlam? Absolutely not. Did
Mhm.
my friends and I like poke fun at each other, like it was like jokingly, like a fake like rivalry thing? I'm like, yes, of course. But I knew it made more sense for her to win the title down the line, not, well, she needs to win immediately because she just came back. Like, and there are people that would think that way, where it's like, well, no, she has to absolutely win it right now because she never lost that title, and
Right.
that's that. And it's like, that's
That's not wrestling.
not how that works, guys.
Yeah.
And I saw someone respond to those general kind of tweets of like, Rhea's too booked too strongly. She's overbooked. She's overbooked worse than Charlotte Flair, which I'm like, don't even get me fucking started on that one. And someone, I don't remember who it was, but pretty much said, and again, we hate saying things like this, but it's kind of true. You're just mad because your favorite is never going to be on that level of Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they meant Liv Morgan. So, first off, before we even get into this, before we get attacked by the stands, we like Liv. What she's doing is
I
great.
love Liv, yeah.
Liv's great. But when you just look at a broad spectrum of just popularity, you can't compare her and Rhea. I'm sorry.
Mm-mm.
Like, who, okay, first, the easiest way to stop that argument right there, who's in Call of Duty right now and who isn't?
I mean, yeah, and the thing is, what it is it's both have star power. Both have
Yes.
star power. All right. And Liv has crossover potential because you've seen her on Chucky and things like
Mhm.
that, which is pretty cool. It's just I think Rhea hasn't even attempted any of what her crossover appeal is, to the
Yeah.
point that when she decides, hey, maybe I'll give Hollywood a try or something like that, she'll just take off. And it's like, you didn't even know you had this potential years ago.
Yeah.
And that's what I had. And me and Jeff, a longtime listener, we had this discussion before. It's like he's a real big fan of Damage Control, Io Sky, Kyrie Sane, and all of them. And
Mhm.
I was like, I'm a fan of them too, but like nothing can compare to the star power Rhea Ripley. Like I mentioned
Yeah.
before, Rhea Ripley is bringing in new fans. I actively see it in my
Mhm.
own Discord.
Yeah.
There are people that didn't even know about wrestling and they see Rhea Ripley and they go, I need to know what that's about.
Yeah.
I've seen it multiple times over the past month leading into SummerSlam. There were a ton, I'm talking about a ton of people that were just like, I don't even watch wrestling that much. I haven't watched it in a very long time, but I saw this Rhea Ripley person and I was like, I gotta check it out. She just
Yeah.
has that ability.
She just has that look, and she can bring in a wide range of people. You can
Mhm.
bring in the alternative people, you can bring the punk rock people, you can bring the metal people, you can bring the people who just don't feel like they can connect with anybody. Like, if she would have been what she is now back, like, when Paige was around, I would have
Mhm.
been in heaven, because those are the kind of wrestlers I gravitate to for the most part, are the ones
Right.
where it's like, and it's not the whole like, oh well, nobody likes them, so I'm just gonna be edgy and like them. No, it's just like I just relate to them more. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
she wears the black punk rock outfit, she has the tattoos, I do the same. So it's just like you just see yourself relating to these people, and it's just, it again reaches a wider range of people, and it's just, yeah, Liv could do that, but
Mhm.
as it stands right now, Rhea just has more of a star power than Liv does right now. That's not to say Liv can't get there in a couple years or maybe even a year. We never know. We don't know
Yeah.
what the wrestling landscape is, but it's just like, guys, for right now, it's okay to admit that your favorite is not the top star in the company.
Right. Yeah. It's totally cool because the way wrestling works is if they keep working the way they're working, they're gonna get that spot. I mean, Liv is doing her job and she's doing
Yeah.
her job very well
Yes, that
because
makes me very mad.
I was watching last night and when she interrupted Rhea and started talking, it was
Hmm.
just like she's so Jersey girl, it's ridiculous.
Be careful, be careful. Mom might have something to say about that,
I
but
she was so it
she
was
gets it.
so she was so Jersey girl. It
Mhm.
was just bleh, like, oh my god, I'm back in high school. Like this is just horrible, horrible. And I
Don't
and
worry, mom might probably laugh at that too, though.
you know,
She was also born in New Jersey, so she gets it. But
yeah, and then the week before when Liv was running away and Rhea caught up to her and
yeah,
got her, I was like cheering when she almost had
yeah,
Dom and hit
I'm
Dom
like,
with the
let's fucking
riptide.
go.
I literally was like, I'm gonna rip my shirt off
Yeah,
because, like,
really.
again, I like Rhea. Rhea's great, but it also takes someone like Liv Morgan and
Yes,
her acting ability to evoke that emotion out of me as a fan. I
yeah,
know she's not really a bad guy. I know her and
no,
Dom aren't sucking face in front of Rhea.
yeah.
I
Like,
know that.
literally everybody are friends backstage. Like, I literally saw
Yeah.
a tweet saying, like, I guarantee you when the public eye wasn't around, Liv and Rhea were, like, probably laughing because they were chasing each other around the arena, like,
Yes, exactly. It looked like a Benny Hill, like,
you just needed the music.
yeah, it was just
Yeah,
like, but again, that shows you that Liv is really good at what she's doing because I know it's not real, but I'm still like, yes, Rhea,
yeah,
get her. So that's what you should be cheering as a fan if you want to be a real stan of Liv, not say Liv needs to be book dominant and be a strong champion, da 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 da. Be like, wow, she's really good at making people mad. Like, she's doing her job. She is excellent at her job, because guaranteed they went backstage, and just like you said, Triple H was the first one to go, that's exactly what we needed. That was great.
It's all about the emotion. Like we said, like, okay, again, going into SummerSlam, Mom and I both knew that Rhea and Damien were most likely going to lose. Was there always like the chance that they could like change their mind? Yes, but we're just like, oh, this is going to suck. But it's just like the way the matches went out and the way the whole like story was being untold, like unfolding before us. It's like we still got caught up in it, and it's just like that's when you know that they're doing something right. When you pretty much know something's a foregone conclusion, you still get sucked in anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wrestling.
It's wrestling.
That is literally wrestling.
That is wrestling. You just got a crash course in how human emotion is evoked through professional wrestling.
You're welcome. That'll be $25 per episode anyway. So, all right. So, okay. So Riz's next question is technically 3, so we may have to rapid fire these ones. When will we see Rhea and Liv fight again? I say Bad Blood, probably.
Bad Blood.
Bad Blood.
Bad Blood. Hell in the Cell. You got to put them in the cell.
Blood. Lots of blood.
You got to put them in the cell. It can't be a regular match. It can't be. It needs to be, and it literally, this is why the purpose of the cage to keep people out. This fits that scenario. We don't need Dom. We don't need Finn, Carlito, JD, and his big ass head.
The bobblehead.
Like, nobody. Let's have those two ladies. You know, even make it worse. Throw a bunch of weapons in the Hell in a Cell, tables, ladders, chairs, kendo sticks, barbed wire, and just like let them fucking go nuts, because that's, again, bringing it back to the last question, the want of Rhea to get payback on Liv and Dom, and how it makes you feel as a viewer, and how you feel like you're just like, she's gonna do it. Like, it's an animalistic thing that you put them inside of a cage with weapons, and you realize that in kayfabe, quote unquote kayfabe, they have this like bad beef with each other, you know, where they just want to just mess each other up. It's necessary to give that sort of element, like a Hell in a Cell, and it just needs something crazy like that. Bad Blood is literally, Bad Blood could be like the culmination of like Rhea, Liv, Dominic, Damian, Finn, CM Punk, Drew, like all these stories that have like that real life animalistic beef to it, like it's on site. Like,
they knew what they were doing making that pay-per-view again. They knew.
So
you have to think that they knew what they were doing with the storylines, and Triple H isn't stupid. He thinks 10 steps ahead. He's just like, well, we're gonna have like 5 of these feuds all at once, so why not end them all on one show? Like,
anybody I talk to that has a normal wrestling brain, even like streamers that I'm just meeting for the first time, as soon as I go, man, Triple H really knows what he's doing. He's killing it in this creative role, and they're like, exactly. Like, this is, it's, again, and I almost got into an argument with somebody on Twitter yesterday, but I took the nice guy route, and it's just understanding that wrestling as a whole is on its different pieces of a spectrum. If you want dramatic storylines, a lot of drama, the way to build that up is not exactly in the ring, but outside of the ring and backstage shakings, promos and stuff like that, and angles. So you go to WWE. If you want something more physical, quick, athletic, more focused on the matches, you watch AEW. You're not wrong for watching both or either or. It's just the simple fact that they're on two opposite ends of the wrestling spectrum, and that's okay.
Yeah, and it is also, while that is okay, it is not okay to be like, well, this one sucks and this one's the greatest and it's my opinion, and anyone that likes anything other than what I like's trash. It's like, let's not be the tribalistic people that we look at and think, wow, you guys are weird.
Right, exactly.
It's weird. It's just weird. Part 2 of that question, who do we think Nia is going to fight first for her title?
Interesting question.
Oh, God, who is there, honestly? Well, it can't be Bianca or Jade, because they're kind of, well, actually it could be Bianca or Jade, maybe, because I don't think they're really involved with the tag titles right
Right.
now. So
I mean,
maybe that's where we start to see the cracks in the friendship, maybe. But
maybe,
I don't see either of them losing to Naya though.
yeah.
Like,
And they had the thing with Meechin, but that was more geared towards Tiffany Stratton.
yeah.
So, but would it be too soon to move Meechin from Tiffany Stratton to Nia Jax?
I mean, I'd be okay with it, but
I would be okay with it.
I always just say Mia. I've always liked Mia.
Yeah.
I think she's very underrated. So it's like I would love for her to get more spotlight as she has been lately. So I'd be all for it.
Like she needs something, but it's tough because like Bailey doesn't have the title now.
Yeah, poor
It's like what we
Bailey.
were talking about last week. It's like with the women's division, because there's a lack of championships and accolades that you can achieve, it's almost like if you win the title, it's like, oh my god, what do they do now? Like,
Yeah,
it's like the champion always has something they can move on to. Even the Money in the Bank winner usually has something they can move on to. So it's like, well, what can certain people do, like Bailey, like Nia? It's like, who's gonna fight Nia right now?
yeah.
Because
Not Tiffany.
not yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it kind of could have went that route with Tiffany. Like, not to pat myself on the back, but like the way I mapped it out with Tiffany turning on Nia after Nia let her guard down, which eventually is probably going to happen, and
Yeah.
they're slow burning the slow burn.
Yeah,
So
I was kind of hoping it was going to happen at SummerSlam though, because we like kind of we tried to call it at SummerSlam, and
yeah,
so yeah, she didn't cash in during the match, but like the more that there's in the ring, the more I'm like leaning forward. I'm just like, all right, is it going to happen? Is
right.
it going to happen? Do I get to say that I was vindicated on the show? No, okay, fine, whatever. It's like, all right, fine, we can wait for that.
Right.
But
And like, I mean, you can go with Naomi, but
yeah,
Naomi's kind of in the situation with Jade and Bianca and the uh unholy union and Blair Davenport, and that kind of fits like a glove, Blair
yeah,
Davenport with that group. So
oh
there's a
yes.
there's a lot of positive things. It's just it's trying to flesh everything out so that there's contenders for the titles, but there are also certain like secondary storylines so that there's stuff for the women to do.
Exactly. It's a bunch of moving pieces, and I don't envy Triple H having to deal with all of it.
Not really, not really, because I can just see him being very overwhelmed with about 10 or 12 women all screaming at him, wanting to know what they're gonna do. But I just Riz, I would just sit back and be patient, and the women are gonna have some fun stuff to do because of Triple H.
Yeah. And also, do we think Buddy is going to help Rhea and Damien out? I mean, he wants to help.
I'm telling you, man,
That would
it
be
would
funny.
it would be so cool, um, if like, because like there's a lot of questions around Malachi's contract and whatever whatnot, and with the situation with the numbers from this new Judgment Day outweighing the old Judgment Day, if
Yeah.
you can imagine House of Black leaving, coming back to the
Oh,
WWE, right, and
oof.
then so there's this thing where there's like this giant face off between the Terror Twins and the New Judgment Day, and you can see the numbers are not on their side. All of a sudden, lights go out, and then one
Ugh.
by one, Aleister Black reappears. Brody King reappears. Julia Hart reappears. The
Ugh.
last one to appear is standing right across from Dominic. He doesn't know. The light comes up and it's Buddy fucking Murphy,
Yeah.
Rhea's
Ugh.
actual fucking husband. And Rhea's
Yeah.
just like, get him. And he fucking just goes off and the whole place. And it's just House of Black and Rhea and Damien sort of integrate to
Ugh.
combat this new Judgment Day, because we got to count JD's head as like three people
He's like three
anyway.
other people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, so like we have to do that, and like it was just I need Aleister
Uh,
Black to come back home.
in a perfect
I
world.
need him to come back home.
Uh,
I'm sorry, AEW. I'm really, 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 no joke, really rooting for AEW to succeed, but
yeah.
they're not doing so now, and they're wasting my guy. Like
I know.
somebody posted his War Games entrance before his Johnny Gargano match, and I was just like,
Yeah. Those were the
please
days.
come back.
Bring our
Like,
guy.
it
Bring our
was
guy
just
home.
it was just that's what we need to we need to restore that feeling, and that's why I think it would be a good idea to do it that way, to have the judgment, the old Judgment Day kind of link up with the House of Black. But again, that's a pipe dream. I'm not saying that
Yeah.
that's actually going to happen, so
We just
don't
want our
get
guy home.
excited, people that are listening.
Yeah.
That's not
Just in case.
definitely in the plans. This is just
No.
fantasy booking again. Just to answer Riz's question, if there's a way that we could get the help from the guys like Buddy and stuff. I,
Yeah.
I always wonder what they think about, the situation in terms of how, like, how do they make those things work, where somebody may
Yeah.
be jumping ship or anything like that. But might as well move on to the next question. All right. So, as Riz eloquently stated in the Discord, she says, "Wish Judgment Day has to go."
Yeah.
We got
Yeah.
we got Wish Judgment Day on Raw and Timu Bloodline on SmackDown.
Yeah,
we're
literally
doing good.
though.
Yeah, we're doing good on the bad spinoffs.
We really are though. I feel like we got a lot of just a lot of just fake factions
Fake
and de
fashion.
facto factions, I guess. Yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah,
I agree. They've got to go.
I
All
agree.
right.
I agree. So, what do we got next on the docket for some
All
questions?
right, I gotta go all the way over to Twitter, so I'm gonna do all that. Also, thank you, Riz, for all the questions. We appreciate
Yes.
it.
Thank you, Riz.
All right. So, who do we want to start with? We got stuff from Jack. We got stuff from Mike and Mom. So, I'll let you pick.
Let's go with Mike. Let's go
All
with
right.
Mike.
All right. Let's do Mike's stuff. All right. So, Pete Dunne beating Trick. Are they cooling off Trick or doing an arc where his frustrations force him to a dark place to do something drastic to get the title back?
Hmm.
I feel like they may be cooling him off just a little bit because I think they may have realized that he's got the charisma and the star power, as we've talked about many times on the show, but he still needs like the finesse on the in-ring work.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
I think that might be it. Just give him more time to do that, possibly.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And it's just like they're not in a position where they like to go. They like to be wishy-washy with like the title and
Yeah.
the former champion getting the title shot back to regain the championship. They don't do that very often. So it's just like they could be just trying to like stretch Trick out and like make sure he has all of his bases covered where he can
Yeah.
work a program that's not for a title but still make it something meaningful, interesting, and that people will check out.
Yeah. I completely agree on that one. Sticking with NXT, Wesley is a heel. What are our
Mm.
thoughts? I was not expecting that at all. That caught me completely off guard.
Yeah, that was I didn't I I I know it's going to lead to something good in terms of a quality storyline, a quality angle,
But
but it was just like, damn, did he really need to do that? Like,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so like, so I know as a fan, it's going to lead to something that I enjoy. Um, and as a fan also, it's just like, damn, man, like they could have had something
Damn.
great if they would have integrated the Rascals from TNA to NXT. It would have taken off like a rocket.
Yeah.
So it's just like it totally vibes with the actual vibe of NXT is great for the Rascals. I'm glad they're getting an opportunity to shine while NXT is hot, TNA is really hot right now.
Yes.
They're going to be all over the map, so it's good for them. It's going to be good. It's going to be an interesting storyline because much like Triple H, Shawn Michaels is a master storyteller. He can just pick apart human emotion and know where to place it in terms of making a good storyline. So I know eventually it's going to cook, but
It still sucks.
yeah, it still sucks. That's your brother. What are you doing? It's just like
Yeah.
plays in the head all the time for good and bad reasons.
Yeah. It was a little tough to watch because they did a very good job as to conveying the emotion. I'm just like, oh, this is making me uncomfortable, which is the point.
Yes, exactly. That's the point.
Unfortunately, but it'll, like you said, it'll lead to something better down the line. But damn it, it still hurts right now anyway. Allegedly, the Lucha Brothers could be WWE bound. Who would you have them tangle with first? Okay, I find it hilarious though that since no one seems to really know what's going on because we've heard 5,000 different versions of all of these rumors, but I do love that the recurring theme I keep seeing is I can't wait to see Penta phone it in WWE. And I'm just like, oh damn. Like, okay, that's
I'm telling you, these Twitter fans are
whew.
something else, man.
I'm like, alrighty, that's
They already had their theories before shit even happens.
Yeah.
Before anybody knows anything, they already know what's gonna happen, who's gonna act like what's gonna go down.
Yeah, I'm like, when did all of a sudden everybody just assumes he phoned stuff in? So I'm like, what's going on? Like, did I miss something? Did I miss something from like before they went to AEW? Because
how could he phone something in if they're rarely on TV?
well, I mean, it got me there.
How would you know he's phoning it in if he's rarely on TV? We maybe see Penta once a month.
It seems like it lately, yeah.
So, A, can you blame them for wanting to get an opportunity in WWE?
Not at all.
B, how do we know he's phoning it in if we never see the guy?
Exactly. He's just working everybody, I guess.
Yeah, oh my God, come on.
I feel like for the question, I feel like who would you want them to like fight first? I feel like just for like the reaction, I think you'd probably want to do it with A-Town Down Under, just because
they would kill it with A-Town Down Under.
Because nobody wants to see them, and then they're just like, oh, somebody come out and kick their asses. I swear to God. And then there you go. That's how you do it.
Yeah, I would like that. I mean, they would do great stuff with the Street Profits.
Yeah,
they would do some great stuff with the Street Profits. There's one tag team that DIY. I think if they tangle with DIY first, we may get the remnants of what we got with DIY in the Revival and American Alpha. I think they can deliver a tag team match of that caliber easily.
That would be wild.
Yeah, I think DIY would be my go-to.
I would agree on that one, which it may happen, it may not. No one seems to really know what the hell's going on.
So. I don't have any inside scoops. I just know either. Yeah, I just read what everybody else reads, but the phoning it in thing is just
that's the wrestling Twitter for you. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. All right, so this one I knew inevitably someone was going to ask about. What are our thoughts on Britt Baker's suspension? And if, based off the reporting, which clearly seems to be all over the fucking place, do you think MJF should have also gotten a suspension?
Let me ask you: did you ask her if she was enjoying her time off?
No, I didn't. No, I did not. I mean, she's back. Remember, they reinstated her
because they couldn't be without her.
Yeah, it just seems so like strange, and it would be just so easy to be like, well, this is fucking bullshit because it's Brit, but it's also just like no one seems to really know what the hell actually happened. It just sounded like MJF's girlfriend's a snitch.
Mm-hmm.
So I would fully understand even if I mean, I don't know. It's so tough because I feel like you have to be there to really know what was happening and be like, oh, well, yeah, that makes sense because so-and-so did this or so-and-so did that. But on the outside looking in, from what we know, again, which is, again, all over the place with Meltzer and the others reporting it, because it seems like no one can seem to have a straight answer. If I were venting my frustrations, supposedly, about men getting, I don't know, like 60-minute matches and the women getting, if you're lucky, 10 minutes a match. So it's just like, I get it. So I get where she's coming from because you supposedly have one of the biggest feuds going in AEW right now. I'd be upset. I'd be frustrated. I would be probably complaining about it. So I'd be a little pissed if somebody's girlfriend went and snitched to me or to him about what I said. And at least from what I supposedly gathered, I'm sure you got the same thing, where it was like he didn't go barging into the women's locker room. He asked if he could go in.
Right.
He didn't punch the wall until after, apparently. Clearly those two aren't friends anymore because they used to be friends. Not the case now. I will say I'm very surprised by MJF's response because that was the least MJF response I have ever heard. Where it was the most diplomatic, like not asshole-ish kind of response, and I'm just like, they really told you to say that. I know for a fact they probably told you to say that.
Oh yeah.
So it's just like I get it because they had to put this like disciplinary committee in place because of things that aren't there anymore, so it doesn't matter.
Mm.
But of all times to to fucking suspend her is in the middle of the build up to one of your bigger matches on the
Right.
card. Like, really?
Th-
As
this
far as
is this
no, go
is
ahead.
why let me just put this out there, like, however you feel about a coworker, if there's any displeasure about something, go voice it to the people in charge. If not, like, you got to learn when to speak up and when to not speak up.
Yeah.
To publicly trash one of your coworkers' matches, it's not
Yeah.
smart. Well, no, I'm not saying not feel that way, but
Well,
man,
no, it's true. No, you're right, because it doesn't give you a good look, and
right,
some people already have a certain opinion of you, so you're not helping.
right. So don't, if you dislike something that one of your coworkers did, and but there's a good chance that like 90% of the other people you work with feel differently than you, maybe just keep that opinion about what you thought about, like, keep it to yourself.
Mhm.
Maybe talk to Adam about it or something. Like, you, someone you
Yeah.
trust that's not gonna snitch you out. Like,
Well, what I find hilarious about the whole thing was like, it sounded like the higher ups for AEW were on MJF's side, but everybody else was on Britt's side. And then you had Conan talking about it on his podcast, and he said something like,
that
"Well,
that was the
well,
reason Cody left AEW.
yeah, because Britt and Brandy got into something, and Tony loves Britt and will always take her side." And I'm like, "Well, clearly that was such a stupid thing to say because he literally just showed you that he doesn't always take her side." Like, he literally just fucking suspended her,
Just
so what do you mean he always takes her side? It was just it's so dumb, where it's just like, maybe sometimes just don't say anything.
just like, not every opinion needs to be voiced. I know that's a hard
Just
concept to understand, but for the greater good, for the peace, just for just generally not being one of those people that always have some negative cloud over them. If you got something negative, go talk to somebody that doesn't work in AEW, that probably doesn't even care about wrestling or something,
yeah.
like your mom or something, like,
Yeah.
don't vent that in your work setting where
Within
you're,
earshot of the
yeah,
girlfriend of whoever you're complaining about.
that's just like,
Yeah.
I tap my head in frustration, because it's just like, I have a lot of negative opinions about a lot of shit that if I voice them publicly, people might look at
Yeah.
me like a freaking weirdo. So I
Mhm.
keep those opinions to myself. It's just
Yeah.
a part of life.
Unfortunately, yeah, you gotta be careful about who you're complaining around because you never know who's listening.
Yeah, it's
And you
crazy.
never know who my mom always says, "You never know who knows who, so be careful
Mhm.
of what you say in public."
Exactly, because a lot of people like to run their mouth.
Yeah,
They
and a lot
like
of
to,
people love to snitch.
yeah, and they like to see your downfall. So don't give them any ammunition. Keep that
Yeah.
shit under lock and key.
Yeah. It just it's always gotta be something. It's
That's it.
always gotta be something with AEW.
Especially, it's always something before a big pay per view.
It's always with Wembley. So apparently Wembley's just cursed at this point. It's always
But
before All In.
it's just always, yeah, anything to do with the all in or out, in and out burger. It's just like,
Yeah, that's a good one. It's the
it's
truth
just like,
though.
it's just every year with this shit.
Every time. It's just guys stop. Please just stop. They get crazy. They
Yeah.
just get crazy. I don't know. Um so we go from something I don't want to talk about to something I really don't want to talk about. So Mike wanted to know why Dakota was not on Raw. Was she injured again? Yes, she is, because um I was kind of doing that thing with Raw where I was watching, but I was also like on my phone, so I was kind of like that multitasking. And
Right.
I'm like flipping through because I saw like Kyrie and Io come out, and then I heard Michael Cole say, "Oh yeah, Dakota tore her meniscus 8 to 10 weeks, and my head physically just snapped up from my phone. I'm like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. Like, this, oh, she cannot catch a break, and I hate it. I hate it because now you have all these idiot trolls on Twitter now going off about she's not reliable, she's fragile, she's weak, this, that bullshit. She shouldn't get pushed now when she comes back because she's hurt, and it's just like, would you guys shut the fuck up? No one complained when Rhea got hurt because, oh, it was just an accident, don't worry about it. It's just like, who's to know how she tore her meniscus? Like, it could have been something very simple, but it's just like, it sucks so fucking bad. Like, I was literally telling mom, I'm like, anybody who's like a Dakota or a Shayna fan really are in the trenches 99% of the time. And this is why, because we joke about it, but it's the honest to God truth. You really need to have patience. And my patience is getting tested, it seems, week after week. And I hated it because we were getting somewhere. She just came back. I was fearing for her life because we thought the Wyatt Six was going to get involved. I really got nervous because mom sent me that I'm sure you saw that video she had on her Twitter about the Valorant, like, I don't know, like gift box or something she got.
Yeah. I did see that, yeah.
And right at the end, you can start to hear Shatter play. And I'm like, oh no. I'm like, oh no. I don't even care if it's in the background. Triple H isn't stupid. So I'm like, mom sent me that and I sent her back, why is that music playing at the end of this video? And she laughed at me, which I'm like, well, whatever. I hate you too, I guess. But yeah, it fucking sucks because it's just like, obviously getting hurt at any time is never ideal, but it's just like, God damn it. I just hope she's okay because I know, like, she's talked about it on her streams and stuff before, how, like, her recent injuries, like, really mess with her mentally because she started to, like, doubt herself. And I'm like, I really hope she doesn't have to go to that place this time, but I just hope she gets well. I hope she gets better soon. Hopefully it's sooner than 8 to 10 weeks, but I hate everything.
Yeah, that sucks. 8 to 10 weeks is a good chunk of time. But again, like, it's not, it could always be worse. It could always be worse. It could always be, God forbid, like torn ACL, MCL, anything like that. You don't want any of that because that leads to like a year that you have to take off.
I can't take it again. I told mom, I'm like, when they were like rumored that she was hurt, I'm like, it better not be long term because I can't take it again. I can't take her being out for another like year or so with another torn ACL, MCL. But I really am in the trenches right now. It never ends. It never fucking ends. But shout out to Dakota. We hope she gets better soon because damn it, this sucks. I hate it. I hate everything. Anyway, so something more lighthearted. Who are we sending to try and stop Bronson Reed if it's not Seth Rollins?
Ooh, I don't even think that was in the cards. I just think that, like, it's Triple H's brain doing like these crazy gold level Olympic gymnastics to make something out of nothing.
I feel like
I would go Jey Uso.
Ooh, that'd be a good one. That's a good one. I feel like I thought too, like, simple with it, and I said Odyssey Jones if he wasn't involved with the New Day. But speaking of, real quick, I don't think we have a question about this, but this whole New Day storyline is rather interesting, and of course everyone's talking about like, like Wood's got to turn now because just look at the way he's been acting.
Right.
And someone said, yeah, but what if Kofi's going to be the one turning because he's got the heavyweight bodyguard already?
Right. Actually, I do think we do have a question about it. I think your mom might have asked us a question about it, so I have my my theory that I want to save till it gets there. Let me see to make sure I'm not going crazy, but I'm pretty sure. Your mom wanted to know, do we see a split in the New Day?
Okay,
all right, so we'll get to that later. We're going to save it because I know I have my theories and I know you do too, so I don't want to get too deep into it.
Yeah, I won't go. All right, well, we'll save that for later. So we'll move on to the next question then. So, oh boy. All right, so we're doing WWE's Table for 3 2 times.
Okay.
We need to pick 2 living guests and then 2 deceased guests, and who are they?
All right, 2 living guests.
Okay.
Deceased guests.
I feel like one of my living guests would be. Okay, this one is not very. It's not too far out of the box, but it's not what I think people are going to expect. I would pick Becky
Mm.
because we finally finished her book when we were going to and from Cleveland a couple weekends ago, and I would definitely recommend it if anybody hasn't already read it. It's a very good book.
Yeah, I got to
We
about the middle.
we had the audiobook, so we listened to her read it. But no, it's a really good book. I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of insight into a lot of the different moments that I was very interested in getting her viewpoint on. So I think her stories would be very cool, and amongst other things. I mean, it doesn't have to be just the book, but I think she'd be really cool to talk to. Ugh. Somebody else that's not the usual, because I don't want to say the usuals, because then it would just be too easy, and we don't have that kind of time. Oh God. Honestly, just for the sake of like things outside of wrestling and pop culture, I would probably say Johnny Gargano, because I feel like we could talk for hours about like Star Wars and all the other usual things that have nothing to do with wrestling. I just think it would be a fun conversation to have. He's a nerd too, so yeah, we'll go Becky and Johnny.
That sounds good. I like that group.
I'll let you go with your we'll go to the deceased ones next, but
all right, my living ones would be JR, Jim Ross.
All right, yeah.
Mostly for the same reason. I've listened to practically all of his books, and he always has the craziest stories of what he's seen. And I'm always a fan of wrestling personalities who have stories from like the 70s, like the old like territory days of wrestling, and they always have the best stories. So I feel like he would have some great stories. Another one that I think would probably have some great stories would be CM Punk.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I feel like CM Punk would have some great stories. So that would be my two living guests on a table for three.
Those would be good ones. Those I like those ones. Yeah. As far as two deceased go, how sad is it that I felt that these ones were easier than the living? I feel like, again, based off of just the stories and just, I feel like having conversations with both of them would be very entertaining, and you could just sit there for hours and lose track of time. I would say Bray Wyatt and Dusty Rhodes for sure.
Yeah.
Those stories would be, you would be just entranced by those two just talking. It would just be like insane. That would be a fantastic dinner.
I would love to see them like put like an angle together, like something creative, because Bray Wyatt, we all know he was super creative, and Dusty Rhodes was a master in putting together angles and stuff like that. So that would be cool. Those are too good. Actually, you stole one of mine. You stole Dusty from
Dusty,
me.
yeah.
I
figured.
You stole Dusty from me. Again, just for the stories, to hear them in the dusty sound of his voice. I'm not even gonna attempt to do a Dusty impression and ruin his legacy. But yeah, Dusty, and another one would be one of Dusty's counterparts in Terry Funk.
Ooh, one.
Terry Funk was a man that, golly, the man, I think he tried to retire in the 70s.
He's tried to retire like 5,000 times.
Yeah, like he just couldn't stop. But I mean, he was a guy that made every single type of wrestling, style of wrestling, whether it was straight up wrestling matches, hardcore matches, death matches, just anything, he made work like all the time. Like, it didn't matter if it was in the States, if it was in Europe, if it was in Japan. It was just like, no matter what he did, he figured out how to turn it into gold for Terry Funk. And much like Dusty, he would have stories. I wouldn't even say anything. I was just like, so, like, tell me about the first time you guys met, and just let them go from there and just listen. It would be a master class of wrestling storytelling. It would be out of this world.
Yeah, those would be some really good ones too. Terry would be a wild time. I can guarantee it. Sure. See, so we could pick other ones that aren't obvious. The usuals. All right, and then Mike's last question, or more statement. Some people on the the milk carton section. Wardlow, Ortiz, Scorpio Sky, Miro, Tegan Knox, and Shotzi. Yeah, we're missing quite a few people right now. I feel like Shotzi's hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I think she had messed up her knee or something, if I remember correctly. Tegan, I have no idea what the hell's going on with her. It makes me mad because I want to see her on TV, and they just aren't doing anything. I guess I don't know. The other four, I have no fucking idea what AEW is doing with them right now. Like, I like Wardlow was here and then he was gone. Ortiz has been MIA for a while. Scorpio Sky, I thought he was supposed to come back and then just didn't. And then Miro, I don't know what the hell happened after he got divorced. Like, that's pretty
I
much
don't
it. I
know.
don't know.
A lot of those, just I don't know. I haven't even heard anything from the grapevine about any of those people. Wardlow is the one that sticks out to me the most as like, what's the deal with this guy? Is he hurt? He's from the States, so he doesn't have any work visa issues?
Yeah, so what's going on?
Maybe it's a personal matter, and if it's a personal matter, I mean, we're not supposed to be privy to that. That's why it's a personal matter. But again, it's just like not even saying anything.
Damn.
Like,
yeah,
it's just
especially, and it's not like the Undisputed Kingdom's not a thing. It's still, unfortunately, very much a thing.
It's a thing, and it's not a very good thing. So if that's what Wardlow is banking on, I would stay home too.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all.
I look at the Undisputed Kingdom, and it's just an instant wave of depression because it's just like it's not that it's just not that the Undisputed Kingdom was once good or even had the potential to be good. It's the fact that it always sucked. I said it was gonna suck. It sucks now, and it continues to suck. So it's just like you get all that suck, and it's just
suck.
Yeah, you hear that music, and the music's not even cool. It has no aura to anything Undisputed. It's just ugh, like why?
It's the best way to put it. It's just
ugh. Brother, ugh. No. Just next question.
All right, moving on. Well, that was all of Mike's questions, actually. So we're going to move on to, well, thank you, Mike, for your questions, of
Thanks,
course.
Mike. Mike's been killing it, man. I just want to give him his flowers. Same to Riz, too. Those two in particular have been killing it in terms of helping me with everything that's been going on. So I just wanted to quickly give them their flowers.
Yeah, shout out to them. They're the backbones to everything.
Definitely, because I'm going crazy.
I don't know. I wish I could help.
No, you're good. You're good.
Corporate America has me in a stranglehold, unfortunately. But it just be like that sometimes. All right, so I know Jack's last question was kind of funny, so we'll save that for last. So we'll go with Mom's next. Something so obvious it hurts. Rhea is just fire on the mic. Yeah. That line with Dominic, I fucking laughed for 5 minutes straight. Like, it was just like, you really went there, and it is true. It is probably very true. What can you say? It's just, again, we've talked about it till we're blue in the face. She just has that aura of, I don't even care what the hell she's saying. I will just sit there and listen at full attention because she's just that damn cool. What can we say?
Yeah, I mean, that particular line is doing numbers on social media for me, so thank you, Rhea Ripley, very much. Yeah, it's just like, again, she has that cool swagger to her. Like, she reminds me of the goth girl in school that, like, nobody wants to approach, so my dumbass approaches her and tries to make her laugh. And it's like she gives you that little smirk, and I was like, yeah, I got her. Like, Rhea is that, like, kind of approachable where she doesn't look approachable when she's in her whole Rhea Ripley persona. Yeah. But, like, you realize that she's just like you and I. That's what the thing about wrestling when it's most successful, like it is in WWE right now. There are a lot of relatable human elements to everything that's happening. You know, whether it be the Judgment Day situation, the Bloodline situation, hell, the New Day situation, the Wyatt Six situation, and like, it's all relatable human stuff, even the spooky stuff. And that's what makes wrestling great. And that's why Rhea Ripley is she's just for everybody. Little kids think she's cool because she gets to wear this dark makeup and do all these cool things. And the parents don't think it's like satanic or anything. No, she's just trying to be cool and strong like Rhea Ripley. Like, I was watching her last night on Raw, and I'm like, she's jacked to the gills. Like, look at her shoulders or her traps. She is a beast. Like, who wouldn't, what girl or anything wouldn't look at that and be like, that's a role model right there.
Yeah, like I said, I want to be Rhea. Like, I
Yeah.
just need probably like 50 more tattoos and some more muscle, but I'm getting there. I'm trying.
We're strive for Rhea Ripley.
Yeah. Pretty much, literally though, like, why would you not? All right, anyway, so back to the question that we talked about a little bit earlier. Do we see a split in the New Day? It sure looks like it from last night.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll get my theory out of the way real quick. I liked and I don't remember who it was on Twitter. I wish I would have caught their name. Where they quote tweeted someone being like, "Oh yeah, we all know Woods is turning on him, right? Like, just look at how he acted." And someone's like, "Yeah, but wouldn't it be cool? Like, not cool, but wouldn't it be like more shocking if Kofi turned on him because you got your bodyguard that no one can beat right there."
Right.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, well, how is, like, why would Woods? I mean, I get it because it's like an instant reaction, because you look at the situation, you're like, well, Kofi didn't really consult with Woods about Odyssey's inclusion into the group. You know, he didn't even consult with him, didn't even talk with him. It just happened. So you can see why Woods would be upset. And not upset, but kind of like taken off guard. And then all of a sudden you're referring to Odyssey Jones as the big O, and it's
And
just like,
Carrion
yeah,
poked him. I'm like, I was waiting for him to say something where he's just like, "Oh, you just think that he replaced Big E, didn't you?" I'm
yeah,
like,
exactly.
"He said
And
the
then,
thing."
yeah, exactly. Carrion kind of said what everybody who was watching was thinking. He said
As
it
he
out
does.
loud. But again, to your point, how can Xavier come out on top against not only Kofi, but Kofi's new sidekick, who is,
Yeah.
they say he's 380 pounds. I call bullshit. That guy's got to be way bigger than 380, but he moves like a cat. He's just like,
Like Keith Lee.
yeah, yes. It's almost like they have their own Keith Lee without the wrestling experience, but they can mold him into exactly what they want, which is good for Odyssey, bad for people like Keith Lee. We already have Keith Lee at home. It's just like, so
Literally.
yeah. But again, it's like, like what you said, how is Xavier supposed to overcome Kofi and Odyssey at the same time? So the only way I can see it happening is if Xavier voices his opinions, his frustrations. Kofi gaslights him, saying, "Oh, he's just talking crazy. That's not even true. That's not the point. He's not going to replace Big E. Big E's always going to be in the group. He'll be back whenever you choose to come back." And then Kofi turns on Xavier, because Xavier's gonna be like, "Yeah, maybe I'm tripping. I'm going crazy." He's gonna let his guard down, and then as soon as he lets his guard down, boom, that's when Kofi and Odyssey Jones strike. It's gonna be it's not, people are not gonna see it coming, because again, Kofi Kingston is a bad guy.
Yeah. You'd never believe it. Until it happens.
Yeah, exactly. So if that's what they're cooking up, again, just we're spoiled. We're spoiled at this point.
Yeah, we really are, but it's okay. We've been through enough.
Yeah,
I think we deserve it
for sure.
What are our thoughts on the Thunder Rosa Deanna bull rope match? I thought it was pretty good.
I personally loved it.
Yeah.
It was. I know we have another question pertaining to the women's hardcore matches, but God damn, they don't miss. They don't miss at all, because them ladies. It was cool because I didn't stream that Collision episode, but I was watching it with a bunch of friends in Discord. A lot of them are like new wrestling fans, and they were kind of just like, or they're like new AEW fans, and they were watching like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like, they're literally beating each other up with a bull rope. They're bloodied. this is awesome. Like, so, I mean, again, kudos to the ladies. Anytime they put these ladies in these situations, it's always great. Deanna looked great. Thunder Rosa looked great. I love Thunder Rosa because, and this is kind of what I don't want to, like, Thunder Rosa to me is cool because she lays her shit in. Like, like
Yes.
if Thunder Rosa hits you, you're going to know she hit you. To some people, especially wrestlers, they're like, oh, she's a little too stiff, which I wouldn't know. I'm not a wrestler. I don't know anything about the craft itself. But again, as a viewer, I'm looking at it go, she makes it look real. So any new viewer that sees her for the first time will go, well, they told me wrestling is fake, but that looks very real. So, and that's the whole goal of everything, really.
I feel like the only gripe I had was not even the match itself, it was the fact that the match actually existed in the first place, because we talked about it before. It's like Deanna won like 2 or 3 matches in a row. Why all of a sudden is this like going to be the end all say all just because Thunder Rosa wins it? But it was still a good match. Still a very good match.
Yeah.
Just not entirely sure why it had to be a thing.
Well, it's AEW,
Only AEW could have a feud where someone wins 2 out of 3 matches, and then the one who's supposed to win it wins at the end, and it's like, all right, we're done now. We can't do anything else. We're done. It's like whatever. It's a good match though. I mean, I expected it to be a good match. It's a hardcore match. Yeah. It's the women's hardcore match. Like that's what do you expect? All right, so needless to say, Mom was a little salty about the whole MJF Brit thing. She was not a fan of his reply to the altercation. She thinks he didn't get it. He was just trying to spin it in his favor. Except the thing was, it was always in his favor, unfortunately, clearly, because he didn't get suspended. So
yeah,
I think Mom's just a little biased.
Yeah,
I'll admit she's biased. I'll admit it for her. She's biased, but
she's
a little bit. But it was just so weird. It just seemed like the canned answer that they told him to say,
right?
Because he wouldn't have said anything like that on his own volition. Let's be real.
I mean, he probably. The thing is, though, like I kind of believe him from the simple stance that wrestling fans are absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, they are.
If I put out a statement and say the sky is blue, they'll take that statement and said that I said the sky is blue while murdering babies going down the street on the way to rob a bank. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, so like that, and that's essentially what he was telling that reporter during that interview, is just like how it happened and how it was written by everybody else is completely 2 separate things. Again, he's a wrestler. Wrestlers, their whole job is to distort the truth, So again, unless you were a fly on the wall or you worked for AEW and you were there in the vicinity as it was happening, nobody knows what the hell's going on.
No, and we never will, probably.
Right, and you got to understand that these reporters, these wrestling journalists, a journalist's job is to get people to read their content, and they know what words to add and subtract to get people's eyes on that particular piece of content. Sometimes when you add or remove those words, the complete context of the situation then gets misconstrued. It's like that telephone game you play where you whisper a phrase into someone's ear and they got to go around down the line. And by the time it gets to the end, it's completely different sentence than what it started out with. That's wrestling journalism in a nutshell. What really happened when it gets passed down to these journalists to report the story, what actually happened is just completely jumbled within a bunch of mess.
Exactly, and so we just kind of have to just be there, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's all I got. Oh well. All right, so that was all of Mom's stuff, so thank you, Mom, as always.
Thanks, Mom.
All right, we're going to finish out with Jack's questions.
All right.
So he can't remember the last time WWE had this many people over.
Yeah.
Who do we think are the current top 5 most over? All right, I'm going to just make an executive decision and say in no particular order, so we don't cause
no particular order, please.
Rhea, for sure. I think you could say Damien too now.
Oh yeah, Damien was going to be my pick.
And honestly, it's just like it's about time you guys caught came around on him. We've been here this whole time. Where have you guys
Yeah,
been?
but
But
either way,
whatever.
I'm just so like
It's like thank God.
we finally got around to watching the Damien
Ah,
documentary.
yes.
And me and Riz watch it, and it was just like, God damn, I'm so proud of that dude. I don't even know him,
Yeah.
like I'm just proud of that dude for everything he went through, man. So yeah,
Yeah.
he's definitely, and I think people see that, and that's why they're cheering him. They're not cheering him because he's a cool like Latin version of the Undertaker or a character reason. I think it's
Yeah.
just like they kind of see themselves in that dude. He's just a
He
badass dude.
Yeah, street trash
Yeah.
in a good way. So yeah, Rhea, Damien, Joe Hendry for
Oh,
sure. I think we can count him.
that's a new one.
I think we can count him.
Yeah, that's that,
I think we can count him. We'll
that
count him. We can
song.
do what we want.
That song, goddamn.
Yeah, it's still going. Mom hates us for it, but oh well. Hmm. That's the problem. There's a lot of them. You could pick a lot of them. Cody. I think Cody
Yeah,
probably
gotta
won,
go,
even though
Cody.
I mean, okay, so let me rephrase that. Cody to people not on in the IWC because right now, yeah, because apparently he's like losing favor with the people on Twitter, I guess,
Yeah,
or whatever.
he's been losing favor since a week after WrestleMania 40.
Yeah, yeah, which is like what the fuck
But
ever, like,
but again, you watch him when he comes out on SmackDown and tell me those
yeah,
people don't go crazy that actually paid to see
yeah,
him.
kind of like how Becky Lynch was leading up to WrestleMania 40.
Yeah.
Like nobody wanted to listen to me, but okay, like now all of a sudden she's gone. People miss her. Shocker. Like,
Understand something, people of the internet. WWE barely uses your tweet as a metric. You want to know what they use as a metric that overtakes who they choose to be over and not over? The people that buy a ticket to watch the show live.
and the merch.
And the merch. Something you don't do, you go on these offshoot websites that screen printed for cheaper. No. They don't care about you. You don't buy
No.
a ticket to Raw, SmackDown, or the house show. They care about those people. So not you.
Yeah. Which I will say, I need to get Rhea's shirt. That's a really cool fucking shirt. Her
The
new
Rhea
one.
shirt's cool.
The Rhea Bloody Ripley, like, yeah.
The
I need Terror Twin merch, though. I need Damien and Rhea shirts.
the Ilya
now.
Dragunov shirt is really cool.
Yeah,
like their merch is starting to cook. You know how we
It's
talk
like-
about merch.
Yeah, because the other alternative is not great.
Not good at all. Not good.
Anyway, okay, so we got Damien, Rhea, Joe, Cody. We need one more.
Got to go with the main event, Jey Uso.
Yeah.
Main
Yeah,
event.
I can say him.
Yeah, main event, Jey Uso. But really, you can't even just choose 5 because you're leaving out Randy Orton. You know, who's probably as over as he was during the peak of his physical aspect of his career. Now we're even though he just signed a 5-year deal, 5-year deals in wrestling and WWE, they go by in a flash. So like we're talking about it now. He just signed a 5-year deal. That's gonna be gone very quickly. So but you got to talk about Jey Uso, how over he is. Roman is a god at this level. Anytime he sets up for that spear, the entire arena just disintegrates. The Wyatt Six, they don't even, literally the lights go out, and as soon as they walk, the crowd starts chanting holy shit. They don't
even do anything.
Yeah, they don't even do anything, and they have to censor it for the network.
They'll get over it at some point.
Yeah, but also getting over is not just positive reactions, but negative reactions. And you can't go any more negative than Dominic Mysterio.
The opposite of over, but still
he's over in a bad guy sense. He's doing just as good as the top good guys are and getting people to cheer for them. He's doing just as well of a job getting people to boo him, because not even Rhea's like, okay guys, I kind of want to hear what he has to say, and people are like, we don't give a shit, we don't like this guy. And the whole time I'm just looking like, I hate his hair, I hate his mustache. I just like, it's just like it's perfect, because I just want to see that guy get punched in the face. a guy who's always consistently over on a level playing field is R-Truth. You know, he
Yeah.
comes on screen, makes people laugh. He gets destroyed on Monday Night Raw, and people are like, "Hold up, wait a minute, you guys went too far." You know, you went too far on our precious national treasure that is R-Truth,
Yeah.
because that was last night on Raw. That was vile. You know,
Oh, that was just so mean.
that was
Like,
just
ugh.
the way he caught him too. Like the first
Yeah.
one, he wasn't even
Ugh.
flat on the mat. He was still standing.
I know. I'm like, oh, Truth, he's dead.
He's
He's
dead.
dead.
We're not gonna see Truth till December.
Yeah, and maybe even next year at this point. Like, ugh.
It's just, ugh.
It was painful, but did the job, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's Bronson Reed. You want to talk about over? Bronson Reed is probably hella over, because when he comes out, people are gonna be like, "Oh shit!" Like,
Be like, please stay away from my
yeah,
favorites. I'm begging you.
it's
Like,
literally like, okay, who's he gonna squash this week? Like,
literally, it's like the Wyatt Six. It's like, please leave him
yeah,
alone. Please,
yeah.
I'm begging you, leave him alone. I will pay you money to leave him alone, but ugh, just ugh. My ribs hurt just thinking about it.
Oof.
Ugh. Um. Anyway, moving on before we get splashed and destroyed. So Jack feels like Triple H is getting too predictable with the DQ to set up the triple threats. What
Mm,
do we think? I think the problem is it's always been kind of the MO when it
mm-hmm.
comes to you have multiple different people trying to do certain things. I mean, hell, AEW just did it.
Right.
Christian just screwed over House of Black and the Bang Bang Gang, so I don't think it's really a Triple H thing, but I feel like it was just easy to go there.
Yeah.
And he did, which I mean, hey, sometimes you gotta do the easy layups. What can I say?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's all about, honestly, you have to also look at it from a timing perspective in terms of
yeah,
the calendar. Okay, we only have this amount of time before the pay-per-view. We need these people on. How do we make it work till we get them on the show? You could go an intricate angle and set it up for a triple threat that way, but those take 3 to 5 weeks, 4, 6 weeks, something like that. You know,
yeah,
and what if you're in a time crunch where you only have 3 weeks or 2 weeks? You know, so it's all a matter of timing. What they like to do is save that stuff for their big stars. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah. I agree.
yeah, they don't really like to rely on the creative crutch, because it is a creative crutch. Like he's saying, it is something that he does often, but they kind of just do it for like the mid-level people.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so
Hmm.
I it's one of those things where, like,
It just happens.
not only that, it's like we're eating so good as
Literally,
wrestling fans that, like,
who
all
cares?
right, they put a little bit too much sauce on the pizza, but it's still pretty good, you know?
It's
Like,
still a good pizza. It's just
yeah,
saucy.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
it's a little, you know.
yeah. No, I completely agree with you on that one. It's fine. Like, it is what it's not egregious. It happens.
Yeah.
What do we think of Bailey's booking the last year or so? Well, leading up to WrestleMania, it was great.
Mhm.
Great storyline, great match at WrestleMania, easily one of the best matches of the weekend.
Mhm.
And then afterwards, I feel like as soon as Damage Control got drafted to Raw, it was just like over. It was like done.
Mhm.
Because like she even said on that one interview, I think it was we talked about it I think last week. What Inside the Ropes, I think was the interview. She's like, I still don't really understand why they drafted Damage Control over to Raw and kept me on SmackDown, because there still was so much storyline we could have done. I'm like, yeah, like SummerSlam. You could have literally had them at SummerSlam. Like, you had all this potential and just got undercut.
Yeah.
And I feel like there was that joke of like, oh, okay, oh, Bailey's just getting like, just getting the short end of the stick from the brass. Oh, it's just hard to joke. It's like, no, it kind of just starts to feel that way after a
Mhm.
while,
Yeah.
because she's barely on the promotional material and she was the champion for God's sakes up until SummerSlam. So it's like barely on the promotional stuff, barely featured on anything. And it's just like, what is going on? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
I'm honestly, the way you mapped that out in the beginning, the lead up to WrestleMania was great. The match at WrestleMania was one of the stronger ones on the card, and then it was just like, well, what next? But again, it goes back to what I said, that the women don't really have enough to fight for. If you're on SmackDown, you get the one title and possibly a run at the tag team titles. If you're on Raw, you get the one title and a possible run at the tag team titles. That's it. That's
it.
So there needs to be a women's intercontinental championship, or a tournament. Bring back the Mae Young Classic, something. There needs to be
anything.
Yeah, something. Like there needs to be a specific tournament or something at least every 4 months. You have the Queen of the Ring, the Mae Young Classic, and then do like one more, where you have one every 4 months, it's something for these ladies to strive for, because on the men's side, you got the world championships, you got the intercontinental championships, you got the United States championship. You can go to NXT, get the North American championship, the NXT championship, the tag team championships from both brands. It's just like, golly, like, like,
damn.
And there needs to be some balance here. I think Bayley should have it's time for her to have her NXT run,
Yeah.
Like Becky did it. Yeah, Becky did it. All these people are going back having these little runs. They need to build up NXT going to the CW network. They're coming out in full force because you get CM Punk one week. The next week, I think they have to go head to head against AEW that night. And they're just like, hey, we'll just have Randy Orton show up in NXT.
Yeah, no big deal.
No big deal. Just Randy Orton.
Another Tuesday.
In his hometown. Randy Orton. Just like,
just
they do it to fuck with them. And it's just like,
it works every time, unfortunately.
Yeah, because if we don't record, that week, let's just say, and I have the chance to watch NXT or AEW, what do you think I'm gonna watch first?
Yeah, come on. There's one you're DVRing and one you're watching live.
Like, let's be real. No hate. No hate, no nothing. Let's be real,
Yeah. It just they just know what to do every time. Ugh. Can we just cut the prime prick? There are hundreds of non-problematic wrestlers who can do what he does. Last thing WWE needs is more bad PR. I would love to agree. And I do agree. I wish we could just get rid of him. I fucking loved that he got his ass handed to him at SummerSlam in front of his hometown, which booed him, which I'm like, thank God, again, they understood the assignment. The worst part is they're going to look at it and say he brings more eyes to the company than they would without him, I guess, or some stupid shit like that. But it's just like, here's the thing. If you're going to put the title on him, you had him defend the title 3 times over 200 and something days. What are you really putting eyes on?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So, okay. And supposedly he told Triple H he's going to be a workhorse now. And it's like, oh, after you lose the title? Okay. Like, sure, buddy. Whatever. I'll believe it when I see it. It's just, I would like to, if I would do it, I would get rid of him because he is a piece of shit human being. But they're going to look at the business side of it. And yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, as my mother always says, money talks and bullshit walks. So,
unfortunately,
yeah, basically surmise it, because I said the same thing on Twitter. When he said that thing about that Olympic boxer, he made that whole big stink. I was like, look, WWE, let's be honest. You can find any white boy on TikTok, train him how to do a bunch of flips, and they'll be just as good as Logan Paul. The same way Shawn Michaels, the joke is that he just scrolls through Instagram to find these new girls to bring into NXT. Like, you can find anybody to do this athletic stuff. What it really boils down to is that Logan Paul came with a big bag of literally close to 1 billion social media followers before he even got inside of a ring. And like I was talking about metrics and how WWE only cares about the metric of paying customer. They only care about the eyes. They don't care about your your feelings and your morals and where you stand. I agree he's a piece of shit. If it was up to me, I'd be like, I cut my losses. Like
Yeah.
he did what he did. He okay, let's move on. But again, like there you there's a reality to the situation. That's how it is. It's corporate America, money, all this stuff rules everything. No matter
Unfortunately.
Yeah, no matter where your morals lie, no matter who you're trying to cancel or whatever like that, it's just there's a divide between, and I hate using the term cancel culture because cancel culture is not necessarily a bad thing, but what it is
No.
that like now it inherently becomes a thing that people can use to get attention.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, well, I'm just gonna say something stupid because I know people are gonna yell at me and blah blah blah, and then oh look, all of a sudden I have numbers now, and it's just like, yeah, but do you really?
Yeah. So again, that's just what WWE looks at. They're like, again, you know, like I said earlier, WWE really doesn't care about social media. No, they don't care about the internet wrestling community, social media. The guys
No.
that like to report on everything that Meltzer says and likes
Oh
to use
God.
big words to explain how wrestling works. They don't care about you. They care
No.
about the ones that will click that on their tweets, watch their videos on their post, and again, buy tickets to their shows and buy their merch. Again, they only care about the consumer. So again, I agree with you. Logan Paul is a piece of shit. I would cut my losses. It's no big deal. But again, I understand corporate America is a totally different thing. And probably if I was in charge, I'd probably look at it that way too.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
but it's money, as much as we hate to say it.
Yeah.
All right, so we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier with the Lucha Brothers supposedly, now we can say, going to WWE. How long until the bad faith accounts love Canadian destroyers? Also, thoughts on their AEW run?
um,
Well, it was good for a while, and then it kind of just like died.
yeah, it was good for a while, then it was not so good. Ray Phoenix, man, Ray Phoenix, when they put him when they put the Lucha Bros in NXT and they have him
Dear
going up
God.
against Axiom and Nathan Frazier,
Good luck.
that, or they put like we get a Ray Phoenix Javon Evans match. Like,
Oh God, could you imagine?
we have to realize that the way this wrestling stuff works, the WWE is geared to unlock things in people and
Hmm.
stars to make them do exactly what they need to do to make the money. Everything from Sean Spears, Lexis King, and da da da. And matter of fact, I know Mike. He actually asked this question a couple weeks ago about Daniel Garcia potentially going to WWE and what people see in Daniel Garcia that he doesn't see, anything like that. WWE would take someone like Daniel Garcia and just unlock that one little thing.
Yeah.
That one little thing that's just gonna make him a freaking superstar. Not only that, but they're going from maybe getting altogether 1 million views in a week in terms of their TV program to
Hmm.
global global. They get in terms of global views on the internet and their program, they get in 1 month what AEW gets in a year.
Yeah.
No,
Literally.
so it's just it's apples oranges. It's like they go to WWE and it's just like, okay, here's the secrets to everything that's happening, and this is how you're gonna make some real money.
Yeah, pretty much though. As much as it sucks to say, it's just the truth.
You know?
Uh, so we go to another problem AEW had. This whole Elite versus AEW story has lost a lot of steam. The Bucks not defending has sucked, and they aren't even using their EVP powers to avoid any matches. Also, I don't know who actually has the power. The EVPs, Tony Khan or Christopher Daniels. The kayfabe authority structure being messy really sums up this story. Yeah, what really sums up the story for me is the fact that when Claudio had his promo last week, I don't remember if it was on Rampage or Collision, or it might have been on Dynamite. when he challenged Okada for the Intercontinental whatever title.
Yeah, the Continental Classic, whatever.
I forgot that was even a thing.
I said the same thing on Twitter. I said I forgot the belt even existed.
So that pretty much tells you all that you need to know, is that
they
what the
botched this.
fuck is going with this? And we thought it was gonna be good. That whole thing when they beat up Tony and whatever.
Oh,
I'm like, they have something here, and then they fucked it up.
And the thing, it was like they beat up Tony, and we're like, okay, they got something, but they have a propensity to kind of screw this shit up. And then they follow it up and they attack Kenny Omega, and then you're like, it's okay, we're getting somewhere. And then slowly it just became unraveled, and it was just like, why we still haven't gotten a clear definitive reason why they started targeting Swerve, which led to Swerve and Darby having some sort of beef. It's just like, it's a mess. I don't know what's worse, the botching of the Undisputed Kingdom story, or the Elite versus AEW story. Like, I feel like the Blood and Guts thing was like, we got to end this thing now. Let's do it here. That's the thing. Whereas the other company, they kind of map out their storylines maybe 4 to 6 months in advance.
Yeah.
These guys maybe do it 3 weeks, or they go week by week. And if we learn anything from the Vince McMahon era, especially the later days of it, you can't go week by week, hour by hour, trying to make this shit work. You have to have a clear vision. You got to map out the division or the vision, and you got to see to it, unless you need a massive pivot. And if you need a massive pivot, that pivot already has to be in your back pocket. So you pull it out and boom. They're just throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks.
Literally though, and it's just like, they had so much fucking promise, so much fucking promise, and it's just, I don't know. It's just when you think they have something, they just turn around and just fuck it up. It's annoying. Like I said, just literally, again, the fact that you and I had to say we completely forgot the Continental Classic title was a thing, and that Okada was even there, pretty much tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird how they were like, well, if he goes to WWE, they'll just turn him into a comedy act. I like funny Okada, but isn't that what he's doing right now in AEW?
Yeah, and it kind of sucks. I mean, I don't know. It's just not. I can't. Can't do it.
I mean,
just can't do it.
I mean, you got funny Okada, you got funny Shibata. It's just like, is this a character trope with the Asian professional wrestlers? Make them funny now?
I hope not. I really hope that's not. That better not be a recurring thing. But I don't know. It's just a mess. It's just a mess. We're gonna continue on before it gets even worse. So obviously we talked about this already. Death taxes and AEW women having an awesome hardcore match. I mean, what more can you say? Every time they get the chance, they hit it out of the park every time.
Seriously, every single time. I can't think of a bad hardcore match that these women have had. Just like, and especially it helped the emergence of kind of Sky Blue, because she was, she was always the young girl of the promotion, and then she had that one hardcore match, and it was like, all right, time to take Sky Blue seriously, and hopefully she can heal up. But like, yeah, every single hardcore match for the ladies has been an absolute beast of a match, fun to watch. This past weekend on Collision was great to see that bull rope match.
Yeah, I completely agree. Whether I agreed that it should have been a thing or not, they still delivered. I will give them that.
Sure.
Alrighty. Are we excited to see the Casino Gauntlet match at All In?
I don't even know who's in the Gauntlet match.
Did they in it? Let me look here.
I'm still trying to find out what I'm excited for at All In.
I know what I'm excited for, but I'm just biased.
MJF Will Ospreay for me.
Red Mercedes for me.
I just like Mercedes is so bad. I'm sorry. On
the mic, well, yeah, like
it's just like, well, I mean, Stephanie Vecker just I would.
She's the agent of chaos.
It's just. I mean, I'm trying to not sound like one of those negative Twitter accounts that hate on AEW, but Mercedes Moné in particular. What happened?
I have no
What
idea.
happened?
I feel like I think I remember hearing that she wanted to make Stephanie look good, and she did. It was almost just a little too much.
But not only that, where is like 2014 Sasha Banks?
Okay, so all right, so here's my theory here. So I was talking to my boss about this because he's like, yeah, I went back and watched the Mercedes promo, and he's like, it was just
It
terrible. And I'm like, here's the thing. I said, but I'm not getting, and I said, at least the promo wise, because I still think she's decent in the ring, but like you said, not like 2004 Sasha. I think, especially when it comes to promos, I told him, I'm like, she was not really this bad in WWE promo wise. I think because she didn't really have free reign to say whatever she wanted to say. She had to probably had a script, pretty much was told these are the bullet points you need to hit, you need to do it, whatever. Could it be that she's just gotten a little too big for her own good?
She's
Possibly.
gotten complacent.
Possibly.
She, it's a craft that you constantly have to be practicing. You can't just
Mm-hmm.
stay in your lane and not try to get better or not trying to refine your skills in the basics. I think that's what happened, and then like you said, with WWE, it was completely different. But that's because WWE is really good at hiding the negative and accentuating the positive. This is
Yeah.
something that AEW hasn't learned how to do yet with one of their booking people or creative, is figuring out, okay, Mercedes, she's not that great on the microphone, so we're not going to have her cut many promos, but have her maybe do a lot of run-ins, have her match heavy where she's having a lot of matches, even if it's against, scrub enhancement talent, for 2 minute or 5 minute segments. it'll
Yeah.
it'll accentuate her as a heel, and stuff like that. But it's just they they look at her star power and just say, well, the star power is there, so we're just going to march her out. As long as she's on camera, everything's good. But you got
Yeah.
you got to be careful, like how often and in the ways that you use her. Her star power is not because she was cutting great promos. it's,
No,
it's just
not
that
at all.
she did dastardly things as an evil woman, and she showed that she has some wrestling skill.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I do kind of have a feeling the whole complacency thing kind of reared its ugly head because we kind of like see this all the time and outside of wrestling too. Like I'm sure you can agree with this with like maybe like the Yankees or football or something like the Giants. As soon as an athlete gets their like payday,
Yeah,
it's almost like they don't give a fuck
yeah,
anymore
yeah. I was
at
I
all.
was literally, that was gonna be my point. Tony Khan
Yeah.
broke out the checkbook. She got her money, and like, if you already got paid, and in your mind you could skate by with using half your skill, and you already
Yeah.
got paid, you know, why work harder? It's work smarter, not harder. You know,
Exactly, and I just hope that it doesn't cause an issue at all in because it could.
it's again, they always have to get in their own way right before a big show.
Every time. I think it's a
Every
talent at
time.
this point.
Every time.
All right, so we got three more. We're almost there. Three more. So Jack, like myself, Mrs. Britt, Jamie, and Rebel as a group, hopefully all in as a reunion. It'd be a good way to set up a tag match with a story quickly for all out. See, I, I think he was listening in on my boss's conversation with me because we occasionally have like talks about wrestling in his office,
Mhm.
and I said it would make. Okay, so here's my fantasy booking of this whole thing, and it is 100% pure selfishness. I'm just gonna say it right now. So going into All In, we already know Mercedes isn't losing that title, at least not right away. Camille is going to do something stupid. Mercedes is going to cheat. Britt's not winning it All In. That's pretty much almost a guarantee, I think, at this point. So then you have to turn around and do All In. So that might be when Jamie comes back. They have a tag team match instead. Britt and Jamie against Mercedes and Camille.
Hmm.
Somehow throughout that match, Britt pins Mercedes
Mhm.
because maybe like I think there's a dynamite or something in between All In and All Out. I think there is. There probably is. I don't remember. There probably is, but I just lose track because it's, it's such a quick turnaround. But we'll just say, like, somehow, some way, after All In and before All Out, Britt will say, that was bullshit. You cheated me out of a title. I deserve a rematch, or something like that. And Mercedes is going to be like, yeah, okay, that's funny. You're in the back of the line. You lost. I beat you. I'm better than you. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So then we go to the whole All In thing. Jamie comes back at All In, saves Britt from a 2-on-1 beatdown. Move on to All Out. Those two have a tag. Like, there's a tag match. Britt pins Mercedes. Then Britt can say, I pinned you. I I get a title shot. I beat you. I pinned the champion. So Mercedes tries to duck her as much as she wants, whatever. That pretty much takes us into, what is that? Middle of September for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
October 2nd, 5-year anniversary of Dynamite. Where is that Dynamite?
That's isn't that in Pittsburgh?
Yes, it is. Why not? Since Tony, for whatever reason, loves those big ass moments, and we already know when it comes to these like anniversary shows, he's going to load that card.
Yeah.
Why not? Those two keep going at each other. Mercedes is ducking Britt for weeks on end. Tony kind of pulls another thing like he did at the San Diego Comic Con. He's like, look, I'm tired of this shit. You two can't seem to get over this. It's Britt, Mercedes, 5-year anniversary of Dynamite for the TBS title in Pittsburgh. That's when Britt wins it.
I like it.
Because on top of that too, besides the fact that it's just a good storyline, at least I think it is, my boss also made a good point of they've kind of gotten away from the fact that the belt is a TV belt. It is the TBS championship, and lately all they've been doing is winning and losing it on pay-per-view. Go back to winning it on a TV show like it's supposed to. Oh, I don't know, the TV station it's named after.
Yeah.
Britt gets the hometown crowd. She wins in front of the crowd. That takes up 2 months of a storyline. Then you're welcome. So I just want it to happen that way because it's selfish, yes, but it also makes sense. I'm not going to make a storyline up just for the sake of, oh, this is going to make absolutely no sense, but I just want it to happen. I know I want it to happen, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I like the way you mapped it out. I think the most important part is it eats up so much calendar time for TV, so you get that slow burning sort of let people get invested into different parts and then they'll be invested into the whole thing. I think you mapped it out perfectly, really, where it continually grudges to that eventual match in Pittsburgh. And yeah, like you said, it's just logic. Like, again, that's simple logic. You need the belt to switch up. You put it on her, in her hometown. It's a feel good moment. It'll probably do good for the ratings too. So it's just like,
yeah,
it's simple logical stuff. It's really good. I like the idea, actually.
And I'd like to see it live because I have tickets already.
Oh,
so
look at you.
Of course. Like it's every time there's a show in Pittsburgh, we always go. Like, we haven't missed one yet, and that one was no different. So it's like I'm just gonna keep saying it until it happens. Maybe that's one of those, if I just say it enough, the universe will be like, if you shut up, we'll let it happen. But we'll see. But I think it makes some sense.
Yeah, I think it's a great map, and again, it's all about eating up time, not hot shotting an angle or anything like that.
Yeah, it literally takes you from end of August into the beginning of October. So there you go.
I like it.
Give me the pencil now, Tony. Swear to God. All right, so I'm gonna flip flop these last two questions because I forgot there was an extra one. So Jack feels like AEW is at its best when Hangman is in a prominent position on the show. He has been the main character of AEW since day one, and in Jack's opinion, should have never lost to Punk. Okay, so I agree because he is a very relatable character in more ways than one. A little unhinged now, but also understandable though. This is why I think at All In, this is just another like speculation, or at least again just maybe like a selfish fantasy booking. This is why Swerve has to beat Danielson at All In.
Mm-hmm.
Because whether Hangman gets involved or not, which I wouldn't be surprised if he does, everyone would expect if he gets involved, he's going to cost Swerve the title.
Right.
However, the better way to do that, and not the easy way of doing it, is you have him cost Danielson his career, because he'll just be like, look, I'm sorry. Maybe he won't be sorry. Who knows? He's just like, okay, whatever. Danielson was collateral, but I didn't want you to lose that title, Swerve, because I want to be the one that takes the most important thing away from you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's why I pray to God they don't have Swerve lose this belt at All In, because I just don't think it makes any sense.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Danielson's great. He had a great career, whatever, but do we really need to have another Sting vacating the tag titles moment?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, he doesn't have to have the big feel good story moment. It's not our fault that you guys didn't book him that way.
Yeah, I do. I don't see it that way. And not only that, but when Bryan Danielson is doing interviews and he says, well, I have to have another neck surgery. It's just like,
Yeah,
well,
what is he lying?
Why? Oh, well, I never really thought about that.
Because literally everybody underneath those tweets are like, that line from an interview he said where it's like, Cody Rhodes taught me about lying. I love lying.
Maybe, yeah. I didn't even think about that. But it's a possibility. It's just weird. Like, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't have gone with the angle of a title versus career
No.
because it foreshadows what's going to happen. Like, if it was in the middle of his career, for sure. But when we already know he's at the tail end of his career, the days are counting down and he's almost done. I mean, it just kind of it's a big moment too. So, like, you run the risk of having a screwy finish, but is it smart to do a screwy finish in such a high profile match? That people
that makes sense.
They want to see a definitive winner and loser. They don't want to see any. But again, the way he mapped it out in the sense that Hangman would screw over Danielson because he doesn't want anybody to take that title off of Swerve except for him. That makes perfect sense. It's just maybe if Danielson and Swerve is not the main event, and maybe Ospreay and MJF is the main event, then maybe that's a greater opportunity to do that screwy finish.
Yeah, I feel like they already said they're the main event though.
Are they? Crap.
Yeah, because I think Swerve said something about being the main event of All In. So I'm like, all right, well,
then it would have definitely, because like, to do a screwy finish, the main event, that's all people are going to remember when they go home or when they shut off the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then again, it's AEW, so honestly, there's a very good chance that the way you mapped it out could actually happen.
Yeah, like I said, I just feel like the better stories there, because Hangman can be like, I know I can't even bother stooping to your level because you've been there, you've done it. Nothing's going to phase you. The one thing that I know will phase you and will affect you and mess with you is if I take the one thing that means the most important, or the most important thing to you, not Prince Nana, the title. So,
right,
makes sense.
It definitely does.
I think that's just me trying to tell myself I don't want Swerve to lose, because I don't want Swerve to. I never wanted Swerve to lose in the first place, but Tony can't help himself sometimes, and it makes me nervous. All right, so our last question of the night is one that made me chuckle a little bit. And it might rile you up, so I apologize in advance. Would you rather listen to the Learning Tree for 2 hours or read Max Caster's tweets for 2 hours?
I would rather listen.
I love how as soon as I said the Learning Tree, your dog lost his mind.
I would rather listen to my dog barking at 100 boosted decibel levels and go through any of that. See, he doesn't like that at all. He's mad about that at all. Hey, Leroy, why don't you calm it down, okay? We're trying to record a serious show here.
Nope.
No, he's not feeling it. He's not feeling it at all. If it was up to me, I'd probably listen to Max Caster, because I feel
you'd probably read his tweets.
Yeah, like, he might say something funny. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I feel like if you had to read his tweets, you could just scroll and you just get like eyes get glazed
It
over, so
just
you probably wouldn't really be reading them.
like I would lose brain cells, but I mean, I'd probably find some sort of enjoyment out of it. If I had to do anything involving Chris Jericho, it's
We knew that was gonna happen.
God, it's the worst. It's like,
Gonna get you all riled up
oh
now.
my, it's just when you hear that fucking I am the learning tree. I just
I
feel
feel like they literally took a page out of Def Rebel's book. Remember where they're like they always have to have the catchphrase at the beginning of
right,
the
yeah,
song.
but it's just
Yeah.
like the actual phrase and the way they use it is
Yeah.
so grating on the ears to the
Yep.
point where it's like not even, oh well, he's a bad guy, he's trying to, it's just like,
No, it's just annoying.
go away, never come back ever. Don't come back here, go somewhere else, just not here, just not anywhere where I have to see you on TV. Go do your podcast with your stupid shitty conspiracy theories and your
Mhm.
stupid shitty guest. Just please, just for the love of God. And it's just like watching him on the show, like I I got enjoyment out of Minoru Suzuki beating the hell out of him. Like I was like, man, I really wish he did break his finger. And that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Like Chris Jericho just annoys the shit out of me because he completely looks like a guy that buys into his own bullcrap.
Pretty much, yeah. Mm, I feel like they both sound like hell. They could both be my own personal brand of hell in more than one way. I mean, I guess I don't want to do either, but I guess read Caster's tweets because I think at that point I could just doom scroll and then I just won't even pay attention at that point. So, because then because if I try to do that with Jericho, he'll notice and then he'll just get like pissy or something and then just like try to make me pay attention and it won't happen. So at least I can scroll quickly through
Right.
Caster stuff and pretend like I read it, but I didn't really.
Yeah. Caster stuff.
They both suck
It's
though.
like on a surface level stupid, you know? It's just
Yeah,
like it's stupid, but it's not the end of the world. But
it's still stupid.
Jericho just reminds me of the guy. Like I don't even if I didn't know who he was, I'd just be like, that guy makes me feel uneasy. Like he just
Yeah.
has something negative to say about me, you know. And it's just
Hmm.
like I don't like it. And it's just again, it's just he can be doing so much for the younger talent backstage as an agent, as a creative booker. I'm not discounting his experience and what he's done in professional wrestling. He will go down as one of the greats all time, no lie. I'm saying current Chris Jericho from the moment before AEW even had their first show, when they announced that they signed him, I was like, oh no, this is a
You're
yeah.
like, nope.
Then they put the belt on him as their very first champion. I was like, oh no, this is a bad idea. And then I started to see what he was doing to the inner circle, Danny
Hmm.
Garcia, Brian Keith, Hook, and it's just like this guy literally sucks these young talent dry. Like he doesn't
Yeah.
even add to them to get better. At least Samoa Joe, instantly you put him with Hook and Shibata, he makes them better by letting them do most of the work. You
Hmm.
know, like he's
Yeah.
just kicking back and he's like, oh, they're stealing my nope spot. That's hilarious. That's his contribution to the group, making them bigger and better than him because he realizes it's not his time to be the focal point.
Yeah. It's
Oh, it's just hi, I'm the learning tree. It's just like, fuck me.
you're just
I'd rather eat a bullet right now. Like,
I can hear you just audibly
you should
groan
watch
from all the way over
you
there
should
as soon
hear
as I
me.
hear it.
You should watch the stream. It's just like I'm talking about something, and then all of a sudden, I am the learning tree, and it's just like,
And
oh my
you're like, son of
god,
a
it's
bitch.
just like the worst.
Yeah, it
It's
is. It
horrible.
really
It's
is
horrible.
bad. We hate
Hate
it.
it. Don't like it. Don't want it. Get it out of my face.
We hated that question, Jack, but no, we didn't. It was fine. But that was the last question of the night, so we did it. So
Awesome.
thank you, Jack,
Thank
and
you.
everyone else that's sending questions. We always appreciate it.
Yes, thank you guys so much. Again, you guys are the backbone of what we do here on the podcast, making everything go smoothly, giving us a bunch of stuff to talk about, and making this a beefy podcast. So
Yeah.
rather than bother your ears further, let's get through the particulars as quickly as possible. You can find this podcast on all podcast platforms available. It's on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, basically wherever you listen to podcasts, you should be able to find this podcast. If not, just hit us up on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Ringside Rundown. Shoot us a DM, let us know what platform you use, and we will get you a link to that podcast on that platform on a silver platter. But the caveat is you have to give us back the silver platter because we only have one. Again, check us out.
One of
one, and it's expensive. But again, check us out: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Ringside Rundown. We're also on YouTube, where you can check out highlights and full episodes, plus all the short form content at Ringside Run Pod on YouTube. We're even on TikTok, Ringside_Rundown. But don't worry, I don't do any TikTok dances or anything like that.
No.
It's just a place to check out the short form content that I do on stream. Yes, I stream all WWE and AEW shows, twitch.tv/ringside rundown. If you would like to watch some wrestling with me, we even did a pop-up stream on Sunday where it was like a 5-hour stream of just watching random wrestling matches on stream. It was quite fun.
Nice.
Probably a mistake to show the dog collar match between the Briscoes and FTR, which ended up being an absolute bloodbath. And I'm like,
yeah,
good thing.
All the blood.
Yeah, I was like, good thing I shut off my VOD.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah,
you would
yeah,
have been in trouble.
Yeah, that would have nuked the Ringside Rundown account before we even got kicked off the ground. So again, check us out all those places. Please check out the Discord. The Discord is where we're growing our little community. Shay was in there earlier, to our surprise. It was like, is this really happening? And she could tell you how extensive it is. There's a lot of shit in the Discord.
It's a bunch of stuff, but it's fun.
It's fun. And then we have a lot of stuff available for once I hit Twitch affiliate, for special perks for subscribers. So you don't just get emotes and all that other stuff. You're going to get special access to private stuff for only our subscribers on Twitch, like, extra content, movie nights, wrestling nights, all that other stuff we're planning out. So please follow the Twitch channel. If you follow, you're entered in the contest to watch AEW All In with our community for free. It's open for 2 people, this contest. All you got to do is follow the twitch.tv/ringside rundown, and you'll be able to see All In for free. For free. It's expensive. It's costing me a lot of money. Shay, where can they get in touch with you?
You can find me on Twitter at ShayleenHickson21. Probably mourning still over losing Dakota for a couple months, but I will recover at some point.
I mean, it just keeps happening to you. If it's not Dakota, it's Rhea. If it's not Rhea, it's Tegan. It's just like,
it never ends for me.
If Shay's a fan of your wrestling, watch out.
except Shayna, we had that conversation.
No, we did, and the reason is because apparently you weirdos send her blood sacrifices because it actually works. It actually works because I literally thought that she was at most like maybe 36. She's 44 and doing it at this level.
Yeah,
maybe
the blood offerings work.
Maybe she's getting her blood offerings from the Pure Fusion Collective. And that's where she.
I don't even.
That's where she got the name.
That name.
What does it even mean?
I don't know. I heard it and I'm like, immediately I'm like, that's not good. I don't like it.
They should have just went with Meechan's suggestions. That would have been.
Oh yeah.
That would have been.
I think so.
That would have been a lot funnier if they would have went with Meechan's suggestions.
I think so, but I could see why that could be a problem. But
I mean, come on,
no fun.
Triple H.
No fun.
Where's the DX Triple H? He would have went for it.
No fun.
No fun at all. But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to the episode. We'll be back next week with more questions to talk about what's going on in the world of professional wrestling. For Shay Hickson, I'm Erik Vasquez. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good week.
See you later, guys.